Okay, hi Farmer Life family. I have a little bit of a different blog for us today. I want you to meet two volunteers. This is Billa and Dane. They've been here for a month and they came on board to kind of help rescue our greenhouse. We were in the middle of dry season and we kind of had some bad things going on in here. So, hi.
Hi.
Dane's from California and Billa's all the way from Australia. But they were in Costa Rica and landed on our doorstep as the universe brought them to us. Yeah, so let's talk about, you guys really helped us address the compost situation to start. And then we also worked on the soil and out there in the greenhouse. But let's talk about compost first, yeah? What was it like when you guys got here in this greenhouse and this?
Okay, well, the first time I walked into this greenhouse, the smell hit me in the face and I went, uh-oh, we've got a problem. And I know this place is a raw food retreat, so I'm thinking they've just got lots of food scraps coming out of the kitchen, but the compost is not working. So that was before I came here, and then I came back and I was like, okay, let's fix that.
Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Because Brian and I, this farm produces so much fruit and vegetable scrap, and when we go to other farms and ask people, what are you doing for your compost? They'll show us what they're doing, and it doesn't include fruits and vegetables. Yeah. Like they're using cuttings from nitrogen fixing trees and this and that and banana leaves, and I'm like, where's the fruits and vegetables in their system? And nobody can tell me could tell us what to do with all, because we have so much.
Yeah, that's your biggest resource you have on the farm right now. So
a huge resource.
What we've been trying to do is take the biggest resource, which is the food scraps, and use it to our advantage. So we can recycle it, turn it into compost, and put it back into the earth. So that's what we've been trying to do. And when we first got here, it was this compost over here.
These are the compost bins.
These are we've got different stages going on here, and in this one, it was about that thick of just fruit scraps. And
rancid.
That is not the idea we're going for. So, Bill, do you want to talk about a little bit of the
Billa showed me
layers?
all these bad bugs that were growing and larvae and.
Oh my God, guys! What is that? That's not how you make compost. This is maybe a few months of citrus and mango and every other fruit that you can imagine in tropical Costa Rica, thrown in here on top of it itself over and over and over again, and it's gone rank, and we're fixing it. This is a sick compost and it really stinks. So we basically had food scraps exposed to the air. The bugs were laying larvae in there and it was just stinky, and the water was running down the hill and it was like worse than sewage. So
sewage, that would be sewage.
Sewage. So yeah, we pulled it apart and we made some new bins. So we wanted to reduce the density of that because it was just so concentrated and it wasn't breaking down. It was completely anaerobic and there was no oxygen in there. It might have taken 70 million years to decompose. Okay, so the problem here is that there was no layering. There was just massive amount of fruit thrown in, buckets of it every day, with no carbon, with no greens, with no aeration, with no water, and the fruit has just condensed so badly that it's gone aerobic. Anaerobic? Which one?
Anaerobic.
It's gone anaerobic. And it's stagnated, it's not doing anything, it's just rotting, and there's no chance for the compost to activate. So we're pulling it all out and we're going to layer it back in.
You also had us immediately separate out all the citrus.
Yes.
That was a huge problem. We were probably consuming 6 sacks of citrus a week for some of these raw food retreats we just had. So we just thought they all go together.
Yeah. So we started in the kitchen with 2 buckets, separating them out, giving everyone a list saying these things can't go in the compost. So then we started to get the right inputs in here. Then we pulled this one apart and we made 2 new, and we started to do them right with the layering system. So so yeah, now this one's been split up so we can decompose all of that, and we've started 2 more and another 2 over there with the right layering, so they're all underway now.
We had to bring in all kinds of material for you guys.
Yeah.
Hay, sawdust, horse manure.
Yep.
Mainly.
Do you want to talk about that, the layering?
Yeah. So we had to think about what we've got locally that the farm can access without spending any money. So we have a horse ranch down the road, about 1 kilometre.
Mm-hmm.
So there was lots of trips to get tray loads of that. And then we've got local sawdust from the local mill, and forest leaves, and what else? Sticks, and green cuttings from the bananas. There's a lot of bananas on the farm here. So then we started with the layering system. I put a layer of manure and a layer of greens, and then finish with carbon. And that is the secret. This is one we're just in the middle of turning, and it's halfway done. It's going really well. It's about a week old, and it was full of food scraps, which you can't really recognize now, so it's going really good. And that's what we're heading for. So
Unrecognizable.
yeah, unrecognizable. We're going for humus, and yeah, we're about halfway here.
And humus in the end is like powder.
Soil.
Very thin
Beautiful,
Black.
crumbly, black, moist soil that looks alive, full of
Lots of
microorganisms.
structure to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not quite powdery, more crumbly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're really excited to get that soil because that needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shall we go in?
Yes.
So this greenhouse is basically sitting on a clay bed.
Red clay.
Very hard.
Which means it's very hard, and there's not much drainage. And when we arrived, the beds were only this high.
We
And-
doubled the height of the beds.
And the soil wasn't much better than that in most of the beds. And we're pretty amazed that anything was growing, but it was testament to nature's persistence.
Tenacity.
Yeah.
We had brought in, like, 9 months ago, 2 truckloads of, dark, rich soil
Yeah.
for this greenhouse. But apparently, as you told me, it didn't really have structure.
Yeah, so either it didn't have structure in it to start with, or the plants have just used it all up in growing, and nothing's been put back in. There's been not enough substance to the humus,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just gotten eaten up and consumed and left just the dirt behind. So so now we've gone through, and we had the guys bring in bamboo and raise all the beds, so they're twice as high now. We started with what was down here before, which was not much different to this, and we've built it up, put a whole layer of compost in that we got from down the road, and then we've mulched it, and then we've come in and we've planted in the no-dig method, each seedling with a handful of compost and a handful of worm casts from the very excellent Farm of Life worm farm that is going very, very well.
It was the one thing we were doing right.
It's
We
one
have
of the
this
best I've seen.
wonderful vermiculture box over there.
Yeah. So so now we have nearly 1,000 new seedlings in this greenhouse, growing away. And the idea is that eventually these beds will be about this high, so it's easy to garden in here. And in each year we want to see Brian and Jody lift this up with a new layer and just keep adding in the no-dig style, so the soil's going to get deeper.
So every time we plant, we don't dig, we just build up the
Yep.
soil.
You're just
Using
building
all that awesome soil now we're going to be producing.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then we'll add more logs each year as we get deeper and deeper.
That's it.
We can do that.
And we're working on a plan to cool the greenhouse down and reduce some of the exposure to the winds here, because it's a high perch and there's not much protection for this greenhouse, so the little plants in here are getting a lot of exposure to extreme weather, and we have an extreme wet and dry season here anyway. So we've got plans for when the wet season comes to plan out around the greenhouse and start to protect this with a living fence.
Yeah.
And we found some suitable plants for that.
So it's been an extremely dry season, and this greenhouse needs more just borders, right? To kind of hold the moisture in, whatever
Yeah.
Hold the
moisture,
moisture in.
whatever
Keep the
moisture.
Wind out.
Keep the wind out.
Yeah, the wind is very drying to the soil and to the plants, so we're
We're gonna plant
just
a
gonna
lot,
tone it down.
along the outside.
Yeah.
So what are we planting there? We're gonna plant
Baston,
yeah,
Quick
Bananas?
plant.
baston and bananas, and then maybe out a little bit further is get some bamboo,
yeah, some bamboo out there.
maybe 5 meters out down the hill a little bit to make another extra protection. And then the baston and the banana is really handy to do the cuttings for the compost.
That's right. Because
Right,
we need greens that we have to put in those compost, so they'll be growing right next to it.
Yeah.
So you're creating on-site resources right here. And
Yeah.
you can just go out and cut the baston right here. You don't have to walk up the hill or walk somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
all right here.
Yeah.
Super close.
Yeah. It's all going really well.
And a lot of these things we have to wait for the rains to resume before we can do anything.
Right. A little dry.
It is way dry. Well, it's exciting. The greenhouse is excited.
A close-up of the spinach because it smells so good.
It's close up of the spinach. Mhm.
Yeah.
This is the native spinach in Costa Rica. We don't really have spinach like they have in the States. It's beautiful.
But this guy was like half the size when we got here.
Yeah.
This guy was here
It was
when we
just
got
a
here
seedling.
a month ago.
And it's
Yeah.
just exploded.
Jack and the beanstalk.
That's awesome.
And then we've got the seedlings,
There's a bunch of
the celery,
celery
lettuce.
and romaine. There's a test going on here because a lot of these lettuces, when I used to plant them, they would taste really bitter. And Bill is telling me it's because my soil didn't have enough nutrients in it. So we'll see what happens now that we have nutrition in the soil again.
Yeah, it might take 2 seasons maybe
Mm-hmm.
to get that substance in there to get them not turning bitter.
What do you mean 2 seasons? Like 2 years or
No, like 2
rounds of
2 rounds and more of this goodies in when we plant them.
Yeah.
The worm cast and
Yeah.
the compost. And then we've got
Over here we had a jackfruit feast.
Oh, we have
And,
durian somewhere too, right?
Went to town on jackfruit, and this is the result. We're planted a bunch of jackfruit seeds, and
durian seeds are somewhere around
some
here.
mame
Yeah, I'll show you
seeds
them
in
over
here too. And hopefully in a couple weeks they'll be sprouting, and we'll
tell you
have
one
a bunch of jackfruit trees.
I'm not planting any more jackfruit trees on this farm. We have like 19, but
We
once
always
we
use more.
get some sprouts, maybe we'll sell them to our neighbors.
well, I'll tell you about that.
You tell me about that?
Yeah, well, jackfruit seems to be the one tree that is just absolutely thriving on this farm.
Yeah.
And it's doing really well as a pioneer species.
Yeah.
It's a rainforest tree, and it's got nice big green leaves, and it's doing really, really well, even though everything else is looking a bit dry. And it's such a wonderful, popular fruit that I think there should be a jackfruit farm, but it's up to you guys.
I could eat a jackfruit every day. I'm not opposed to that.
And that's the other big thing about this farm is the amount of seed coming out of the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have so much seed stock coming from the fruit, the papaya, the jackfruit, the starfruit, the durian, and endless supply of that. So it'd be fantastic to see this greenhouse evolve to be a nursery as well, because no matter which way you go, whether you plant them or sell the trees, you're going to end up with a resource that you can make some money or
and we
trade
get a
with
lot
other
of
people.
we get a lot of starts. Oh, maybe because we were doing it wrong. We used to in our compost we used to get starts, but it wasn't hot enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now that's so hot in there that the seeds would never grow.
Yeah.
Right.
But before, with the we would just get papaya trees growing everywhere. Wherever we put soil down, there'd just be these papaya trees sprouting up.
Yeah. Well, there was a bunch on the front of this one this morning because it was cool enough for them to start. So I took them out and I replanted them. There was melons and papaya. So I replanted them up the top up there. And then over here we have a little durian nursery happening. Just because we didn't have any other soil at the time, but this is do not dig here. There's about 50 durian starts happening in this area, and then we'll transplant them and put them somewhere else. So durian's yum.
Yeah, that was special. That was just one durian fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we had two. We had two. And it was white durian? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah, the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's white durian.
White durian flesh.
Let's look at the wormery.
Okay.
This is actually something my employees started, and it's something a lot of my neighbors do as well. So we've And we've used so much of the soil recently.
There have been some sprouts coming up in this, but as you can
This
see,
purely horse manure from the
Looks-
neighbor. Well, mixed in with sawdust because that's what she
looks
does.
like not much earthworms are in there, but if you take a little grab of it,
Yeah, it's loaded with worms.
Loaded with worms. And it's a little wet right now, but
Yeah.
once it's ready,
Yeah, this
it's
is
the
not
best
ready.
stuff on earth. Look at all those.
Wow. That's a
Hey
lot of worms.
guys, and these are great. This is what you want. This is what we want in the beds.
Yeah,
That's what it'll look like at the end.
that's what the humus from the compost is going to be very similar to that,
Without the earthworms.
without the
of course.
worms. And then a handful of that, and a handful of compost with every new seedling in the garden.
Yeah.
That's the ticket.
So maybe we'll do a blog in a couple of months and see the results of all
The
this
transformation.
awesome stuff. And
Yeah. Thank you
greenhouse
guys
will
for
be
making it
booming.
happen.
Our
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
Our
Let me get back
service.
here. Thank you, both of you,
You're
for your
welcome.
loving service.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
It's
You
our
guys are
honor.
wonderful.